Okay, this is one I am positive I'll be getting a lot of flack for, but I don't care. Out of every Kirby game out there, this is the one that I find the most underrated. It isn't the best, of course, but it's certainly the one that tends to go overlooked the most. And trust me, I get it. In the US, it came out a mere 2 months before Star Allies did. As a refresher, that game came out in March of 2018. A 3DS game in 2018 was not going to set the world on fire, no matter what. As for what you do in the game, it's very straightforward. There are 10 different minigames to play, you pick an ability, and you play. There's a story mode, the Cake Royale, but outside of having a brief tutorial level, there's not much that sets it apart gameplay-wise. The dialogue, however, I think is really funny. I'm a big fan of stories that have dialogue that's charming, but out of context, it's just really weird. There's this one Waddle Dee, for example, that starts out not liking Kirby very much, and when it comes time for Kirby to fight Meta Knight, he says, "I like you and all, Kirby, but I hope Meta Knight destroys you." Oof. But regarding the story, special mentions to Bandana D here for going through some real development. He starts out timid, reliant on Kirby, and low on self-esteem, but by the end, not only does he see himself as an equal teammate to Kirby, but he even helps during the final boss fight. Kirby even winds up sharing the giant cake with him in the ending. Good on you, Kirby, sharing food with your best friend. I guess that counts as development, for what it's worth. Unfortunately, the story mode itself is rather repetitive. There's nothing to mix up the fact that you're just playing these 10 games and nothing else. The game tries to change things around by only starting you with Sword, and the farther you get into the story, the more abilities you get. I don't think the game modes really work as one-offs though, and since that's how they're presented here, the repetition does kinda hit hard. That final boss though? The games themselves are all very simple. People compare them to Mario Party minigames, but honestly, that's a pretty bad comparison. They're more comparable to individual courses in Air Ride, but even that feels a little bit off to me. They all have simple, unique rule sets that set them apart. For example, in Apple Scramble, you and a teammate try to collect more apples than the opposing team. In Slam Hockey, there's a large hockey puck that Kirby can attack to try and hit opponents with. And there's the standard battle arena where you fight until somebody wins. There is some minor overlap in ideas for these games. War Express, Apple Scramble, Rocket Rumble, and Coin Clash all involve Kirby collecting something. I've heard this commonly used as a critique for the game, but honestly, I think that's stupid. I know, stupid's a strong word, but in Ore Express, for instance, you have to hold on to the ore you collect until the train drives by for you to throw the ore into to get the points. Other players this whole time can attack you to make you drop all of the ore, so it's less about collecting the ore itself and more about outlasting your opponents until the time is right. Or maybe you just try to get the ore that's lying around for yourself. This is an auto-scroller, and for once, I actually say that's a good thing. It perfectly fits the pace of this mode. Now, Rocket Rumble, on the other hand, has the things you collect be thrown into your rocket that is available at all times. Other players can attack said rocket and steal your fuel at any time, which is good, but it not only leaves their rocket open, but it also means they're not getting any fuel that's just lying around. Then in Coin Clash, the more you collect, the slower you move, and there's also a ghost that appears that makes you lose coins automatically. But while it's grabbed onto you, you can try to make contact with another player, and the ghost will move on to them. Now at this point, you're free to collect coins, and the other player is responsible for dealing with this coin-stealing ghost. Apple Scramble, it's my favorite part of the whole package. There are wispy witch trees that drop apples when you attack them. You grab the apples, throw them onto a platform, and then pull on a lever to drop the apples and get points. I'll go into the specifics of why I love this mode in a little while, but the only thing that I'll mention for now is that this mode is always 2v2, but honestly, at this point, do any of these games sound so similar unless you describe them in the vaguest way possible? All of these are drastically different from each other, despite all being games where you collect things. Of course, this being a Kirby game, what also sets these apart are the copy abilities. In this game, they function more like they do in Kirby Fighters or the copy ability challenge rooms, more like playable characters than something Kirby can give and take at any point. Some of these abilities are more offensive, some more defensive, etc. And depending on which copy ability you have, how you play each of the game modes completely changes. For instance, going back to Apple Scramble, I could pick Whip. Whip is great because the whip itself picks up items from a long distance, like in the main series games. I can grab an apple from a very safe distance, chuck it towards the platform where the apples drop, and either keep doing so until I want to pick them all up and put them on that platform, or let my partner take care of the platform dropping part and just keep getting apples. Instead, I could opt to use Tornado, which has a multi-hit charge attack that, depending on which stage I'm playing on, yes, there are multiple stages, can hit both Wispies at once and pull apples towards me, as well as other players, which will knock them down, giving me plenty of time to grab all the apples that just dropped. Maybe I want to let my partner handle the apple gathering and pick ice instead. I can go to my opponent's side and put up this large ice wall that they'll have to break through every time I put it up. With this, I have the initiative on defense. I can attack and make them drop their apples, or if my partner has a good offensive ability, I can keep stalling until my partner can make it over to their platform and drop the apples. And this is why I think the comparison to Mario Party minigames is so off base. I love Mario Party minigames, but they're not this complex with the ability that you pick. They're simple side affairs that complement the main party mode. These games not only have enough depth to where the copy abilities shake things up, but they also take longer than 15 to 30 seconds, which is what the Mario Party minigames typically take. That's pretty important to how both of these work. That said, I don't think all of the game modes are winners. Attack Riders, I've never liked. Really, I just don't even get it. You fight over the Rex Wheelie or whatever this is, and when you get on it, you can ram into opponents to KO them for a short time. But that's it. It's really just fighting over the bike and trying not to get it taken from you. Robo-Bonkers, I almost like. It's a game themed around a boss battle, and I love Kirby boss battles, but it really just boils down to nailing as many hits on Robo-Bonkers as you can while it's stunned. The period beforehand where you're shooting the missiles, it's fine, but it doesn't matter nearly as much for winning as wailing on Bonkers at the end when he's stunned. Where the ball is really dropped is with the online. It runs about as well as you'd expect a 3DS game to. Maybe a little bit better from what I had played while the game was alive, but that's not what my problem is. My problem is that you can't play with friends. There's no lobby system, just a jump online and fight random people for points system. I don't mind that being in the game, but being unable to play with friends is so stupid. I mean, the online is dead now, so getting 4 people together to play isn't the biggest pain, but it'd be much easier with just a normal lobby system. And when the game was active, forget it. It was random only. Which was fun, but if you wanted to play with friends, oops. I also think the visuals of the game are kind of underwhelming. Oh, by all means, it's a good-looking game, and in particular, I just adore the artwork. Quick tangent on this. The last time we had seen Kirby characters hand-drawn, officially, was in Kirby Mass Attack. Seeing them look like this again after 7 years was an incredible treat, and that polka dot shading style looks so freaking cool. I just think that by this point, I was ready to move on from the look of the 3DS games, and I do give this one merit for mixing it up a bit with the shading, and even the outlines on the characters in the game. It does give this one a much stronger style than the more generic looking ones. But having seen Star Allies visuals and trailers and the like, I wanted more of that and less of what Battle Royale was offering. On the other hand, the music, I really like it. For once, this is a soundtrack mostly composed of original tracks. There's an occasional remix here and there, and there are remixes of original track in this game, but offhand, I can only name a couple of remixes. The best track in this game, it is a remix of Daddy Day's theme used for the final boss. They really just went all out with that final boss in general. It is so good. And the rest of the game has a very jovial, upbeat sounding feel to it, but it's never too much. I appreciate that. Ending this off, I am going to rank every game mode from least favorite to favorite. I rate the games as follows. Number 10, my least favorite, Attack Riders. Again, I just don't get it. Number 9, Robobunkers. Fun, but that stun period takes way too much time and rewards way too many points. Number 8, Battle Arena. The least complex of the bunch, but a fun time when everyone knows what they're doing. Number 7, Rocket Rumble. The arena is a bit too small for my liking, but I love the risk-reward that goes into every step of playing this one. It's a fun time. Number 6, Crazy Theater. A bit slow, but the things that it asks you to do with this while 3 other fighters are fighting for the same thing is incredibly fun. Number 5, Coin Clash. Frantic, and when your coin bag is huge and you're moving super slow, things get really intense. You want that ghost to stay as far away as it can. Number 4, Or Express. Now, I already said my spiel on this one, but I love outlasting my opponents and going super aggro on them while I'm falling behind. Number 3, Slam Hockey. Positioning is key in this one, and there's a constant pace that never feels off. Also, grabbing the puck as it's moving towards you super fast because your opponent hit it super hard, and then just grabbing it, so satisfying. Number 2, Flag Ball. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to talk about this one much at all, because the video is already pretty long and all, but being able to grab the goal turns this game into one of those that makes your hands sweat. And finally, as stated already, my favorite game in Battle Royale is Apple Scramble. I feel like this is the game that has the most strategy and depth to it. When you play these games as a 10 in a row with friends to get the most points, this game is pure gold. I just adore it. Am I alone on that one? Probably. Do I care? No, not really. I love Battle Royale.